Yeah. Okay, then let me start by welcoming all of you to our members meeting. Thank you for coming today. I know there's either a lot going on, both probably in your lives and your work and the world, or you're already on vacation. So as the case may be, we're really glad to have you here, especially, of course, because we had been hoping to meet in person or in hybrid form in Seoul. And so we would have had the members meeting there. And so we're very, very glad to be able to have it in this format because we can't meet in person. So for us, this is maybe, at least for me and Aline and Jeff, this is a little bit of a bittersweet moment because it's our last members meeting as the co-presidents, but of course we'll stay on first for another year as past presidents. And then, of course, we'll still be around. And we could not be happier to be able to hand over to Sarah and then to Wolf. So you are in very good hands. But yeah, we're of course, it's a little bit sad for us because, you know, we've been doing this for so long and it's been a great few years. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Aline to start us off on informing you what's been going on.
Yeah, so we thought, even though I think looking at the names, most of you have been members of the MSA for quite some time, you know the association quite well, but there might be some people who don't know the association that well yet or are new. So we thought we quickly introduce us. Also, then you see a little bit who are the faces behind some of the names that you see in the emails, etc. So Angus, maybe we can start the PowerPoint. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, just to very quickly say who we are. First slide. So yeah, just a few statistics really, like since we've been existing. 2016 was the founding conference and registered since 2017, and we've grown a lot since then, as you probably know. And we had 5 or 6, depending on how you count, annual conferences since then. And it's sad that now we cannot be in Seoul together, but we organized something else instead. Next slide. Just a quick overview of the structure of the association. You can also find that on the website. It's a little bit hidden, but we have an organigram there. So if you want to look a little bit back at how it works in terms of committees, etc., then you can do that. Next slide. And this is what Jenny already mentioned. So this is the presidential team at the moment. It's probably the biggest that we will ever have, in the sense that Jenny, Jeff and I will become past presidents on the 1st of July. And then Sarah takes over, who's been president in learning, if you so want, in the last year, and is taking over as the president of the Memory Studies Association. And we already have the president-elect, Wolf Kansteiner, who will then next year take over the presidency. Next one. These are our outgoing executive committee members, Hannah and Joanna. So thank you so much for all your work that you've been doing. It's actually very sad that you will leave us, but I know that you will continue working with us also in the future. So yeah, thanks so much for being great colleagues and just doing so much. Especially Hannah has been with us from the very beginning. She organized together with Jenny and me the very first conference we had in Amsterdam, as you probably remember. Next slide. And this is the current executive committee. The 2 new members that have just been elected are Johanna. So we have another Johanna, basically, and Maria. I don't know if the 2 of you want to very quickly say a few words about yourself so people get to know you a little bit. Maybe Johanna first.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Well, some of you might know me if you have been in Madrid at the conference in 2019, because I was one of the co-organizers together with Maria Restova and Paco Ferrandi. And I'm based at Complutense University in Madrid. And I'm from German Cultural and Language and Literature Studies. And I'm very happy to be here and now being part of the executive committee. And I will continue what Joanna had been doing before, the fellowship of MSA Scholars at Risk. So I don't know if this is enough, but I can add if you want, but otherwise I would hand over to Maria.
Thank you so much. I guess I've been in the MSA from the very beginning, from the 2016 conference, and I am really excited to have this opportunity to contribute more to the association, to work for the MSA. You may know me if you were participants of the Warsaw 2020 conference. 2021 actually, and now I'm going to hand over Hannah Tyler's things at the executive committee, which means things connected to the website, and I'm also hoping to be involved in many more projects for the sake of the MSA. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thanks a lot. We're looking forward to working with you. Then the other four you already know, so they are continuing in the executive committee. I wanted to remind you that we have the agendas and also the minutes of the executive committee meetings online. So whoever is interested in knowing what we discussed in our meetings, you can go on the website and check that, and then also send us suggestions, for example. Next slide. So these are just the other committees that have been active. The Nominations Regulations Committee, you're probably familiar with their work because every year they have to organize the elections, and they help us with this. So thanks a lot to Anne, to Astrid, to Bill, and to Michael. Next one. Yeah, this is the Ethics and the Finance Committees. They've been partly new elected. So again, we're looking very much forward to working with you in the future. And this is our big advisory board. I don't have to, yeah, just all the names. Thanks again for all your help and your advice over the past years. This has always been great to get your feedback and to rely on you whenever we needed some extra help. Next one. So yeah, this is our strong point in a way, that the MSA has grown considerably, branching out into different regional working groups and national groups. We have now 19 working groups and 6 regional groups and 2 national networks. So this is actually very great that we have these more specialized subgroups of the MSA, and most of them are really active with the active membership. So yeah, if you're not part of one of the working groups or want to be part of a regional group or national network, then consider joining one. You can do that easily on the website. You have to be a member of the MSA, but yeah, you can just join one of those groups. And if you have an idea for a new group, then again, you can apply for forming a new one. So there's lots of possibilities of getting actively involved. Next one. These are our great MSA assistants, Lorena and Angus. They're just behind lots of things that we are doing, and they have been so helpful since they've been working with us on a voluntary basis for very long, and now we're actually able to pay them something for the work that they're doing. So again, thanks so much. Without you, it would all be so much more difficult. Yeah, and now you probably know that we have an internship program. So whoever is interested in doing an internship with the MSA, also on long term, we have had quite a number of interns that have been with us for a very long time. We have 5 active interns at the moment, so you see them here on the screen. And I should also mention that we have 3 interns that have worked on the week of events that will take place next week and the week after. We don't have a slide for them here, but I think it's we should really mention because they've been working so much on this and they've been so helpful. So this is Freya McMorrow, Juliette Jules Vignal, Yasmin Mayer, and I probably mispronounce your name now, Sung-Gi Hong, who is not an intern, but who's been working very hard on the virtual week of events that we will present to you in a second. Next slide. So yeah, this is the finances of 2021. So I usually present you always the finances of the previous year. I just see that you can't see the total properly here on the slide, depending on how you're well, I cannot see the total. I don't know if you can, but it's been a very good year, particularly because we had a conference, and that is always helpful because a lot of people only become members of the MSA if there's a conference and they participate in the conference. That's quite a normal thing. But yeah, we raised almost 100,000 conference and membership fees last year. There was quite a lot of fundraising that was going on, both by the Warsaw Committee, but then we also won this big Europe for Citizens grant that I presented last year. And we already had quite a bit in our bank account. So we are looking really at quite a nice financial cushion at the moment of 240,000. So that is really good because it means that we can start thinking a little bit bigger than we did before, and maybe we can actually pay a few people that are doing work for us. So this is nice prospects for the future. And to be honest, I talk personally here as an outgoing co-president, responsible to partly for the finances, that I feel a bit more relaxed now after years of being worried that the association would bust financially or would go bankrupt or something like that. The conference, the costs on the other side, you can see here. Don't think I have to go into too much detail here. The biggest expense, of course, was the conference cost itself, a lot lower than all the other conferences that we've organized, simply because it was online. So you have a lot of expenses that are not there. The biggest cost was really the Drifter platform that handled all the web streaming and submission, etc. And like I said, we were able to pay our assistants something. So that's probably the second biggest, together with the website cost that we had in the last year. So we're still a very low budget, organization, relying largely on just people doing a lot of voluntary work. So thanks to everybody who's been spending a lot of time working for the MSA for free. And with this, I'm going to hand over to Sarah, who's going to talk about what will happen next week.
Thank you, Aline. Some people were wondering why the expense table was not on the good number, so it's been corrected in the chat. But don't worry, the money was taken out of our account and not anywhere else. So I'm presented instead of Sang-Yoon and Elena, who are the two people who organize the week of events for next week and the week after. So I'm not taking credit of their work. As you know, we had to cancel the on-site conference in Seoul because of the COVID situation. In Asia, the regulation is very, very different from the one we can experiment in other parts of the world. And so if you go on the MSA website, so I'm not going to present in details because we want to keep time for discussion, but if you go on the MSA website, you will find the program, so week of virtual events, July in 2022. And so each day next week, so on Mondays from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., but the other dates from Central Eastern Europe time, CET, not, and so please adapt for each of your time zone. You will have a two-hour event. Basically, the plenary sessions we had scheduled originally for the on-site events. So on July 4, it's Novelist and the Work of Memory. And the idea was to discuss with how some novelists from Asia, from the Asian continent, deal with memory. On July 5, it's women and gendered violence. Again, we started with the issue of of comfort women and tried to tackle this issue more globally. On July 6, we will have a conversation with Sergei Losika about the Maidan documentary in relation to the Ukrainian crisis and war, and a Q&A. On July 7, we will have a roundtable with some of the main figures of memory studies. It's called Itineraries of Memory Studies, Reflections on Methodological Innovation. And on July 8, a roundtable around memory and climate change. The week after, we thought that it was a perfect occasion to give the working groups the opportunity to organize an online conference, as they always do for the on-site conference. Most of the working groups have panels. So it will take place also, and Jelena was the one coordinating this for the executive committee. So I'm not going to enter that into more details because we have some parallel sessions. So again, if you go on the website, you will have more information, but basically it will take place on July 11 and July 12. So I guess that's it for our week of events. And now I will handle the floor to Joanna for the Researcher at Risk Fellowship.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Okay, again, to those who do not know me, I'm Joanna Wawrzyniak. I'm right now becoming a former EC member, and I was responsible this year for our new initiative, which is the Memory Scholars at Risk Fellowship. I will ask Lorena if she is with us to pass a link to our website, which explain what the fellowship is about. So I won't go in the details, but I'm very proud to say that we have already granted two fellowships, one to Marina Rusanova, who is a Ukrainian scholar at risk and who will be hosted by Birmingham University. At the same time, I just wanted to express my thanks to the scholars from Birmingham University who work on a joint application together with Marina. It's Klaus Richter, Sarah Jones, and Katarina Karhe. As you might know, the purpose of that fellowship at risk is to add up some from MSA to some already existing initiatives of helping the scholars, and above all to strengthen the collaboration between the scholars who are in the safe countries and those scholars who need help. So the idea is to strengthen the joint applications by and combine efforts of the scholars at risk and the scholars in the secure places. And the other scholarship will go to Dr. Alexei Kaminsky, on behalf of whom the fellowship was submitted by Boris Nordenbos from the University of Amsterdam. And Boris is the Russian scholar who cannot go back to Russia right now. So I also would like to express our thanks to Ji-Hyun Lim for his successful fundraising, because thanks to that, we will be able to offer at least 2 more fellowships that year. The committee will also deliberate about a little bit changing the scheme of the fellowship, so that we could react more quickly and perhaps also help the scholars at risk who are in their home countries. So this is above all what we learned from the Ukrainian situation right now, that the people are willing to stay there, but they need some help, financial help, to be able to actually do MSA to do a memory studies project in the home country. So that's very briefly from me. My huge thanks above all to Lorena, who helped us a lot with financial issues and transfer and so on. That's not always easy because we need to be flexible because of the situation we are dealing with. And the committee of the scholarship, that is Sarah, Ji-Hyun Lim, Katerina Kralova, Anne Rigny, Aline Sierp, and Jenny Wistenberg. And I'm very happy to answer any question you might have. And I'm also very delighted to be able to pass that scholarship over to Johanna, with whom I'll be talking tomorrow on Zoom about all the details. Thank you so much. Sorry, I forgot one thing.
Oh, go on.
One most important thing: don't hesitate to donate to our initiative. It is now much easier. You just need to press a button which is on the MSA site. I think Lorena has already copy pasted that to you, and whatever. It's easy. So if you can help us, even with a small donation, they will up to more considerable help in future. Thank you.
I'm going to give a quick update on the website and social media side of things. So a few reminders to start off with. We are still collecting resources to display on the website. So if you have anything to send us, for example, it could be teaching materials, it could be book discounts if you've recently published a book, it could be job applications at your institute or things that you've heard about. We try and post as much of this stuff on the website for members in the members area as we can. There's also a reminder for the membership directory, which is essentially space for you to include information about yourself in your account settings. So that can be, for example, languages you speak, publications, that will hopefully make it easier for people to find each other and to share what they've been doing. So just a little reminder to go and fill in your part of the directory if you haven't already. If you hadn't seen over the past few months, about a month ago, we pushed live the website. It's a full website for working groups, regional groups, and national networks. And it is a space where these groups basically can be independent and collaborate and organize events and sort of meetings with each other. This was a really huge effort. So I think we'd like to say a special thanks to James, the web designer, who put in really a lot of work to make this happen. They're all individual sites for each group that wants one. And so he spent a lot of time training the different members of groups to be able to actually look after them themselves. But also a big thank you to the groups who were involved in testing these websites in terms of putting information up so that we could actually see how everything worked. There were a lot of people involved with that too. If you haven't looked already, you can go to groups.memorystudiesassociation.org, and that is where all the group sites are. You can sign up for working groups, regional groups, and national networks there yourselves. So you no longer need to submit a form. You can choose which groups to join on your own. So we've made the whole process hopefully a lot more streamlined in terms of your own participation too. Also, one or two notes on social media. We're still quite active on Facebook and Twitter. We publish YouTube videos for example, digital MSA events. And we're also now hopefully going to launch an Instagram account, which the interns are currently working on. So we're looking forward to that too. I think it's Magda. There is also LinkedIn.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to talk about especially about the first book award, because this is where the major changes would come. So we planned some changes in the regulations for the first book award, and to open it to books written in any possible language, not only English. The idea is that it would be a two-stage procedure. On the first stage, we would like to get abstracts written in English, 5 to 10 pages as far as I remember, and on the second stage, the whole book written in any language. And we decided that only MSA members can submit the proposals, but also both for self applications and applications for others. A very important thing is that applications from MSA members at any stage of their career would be possible. So the idea behind these changes is to open the award to as many members as possible, coming from all possible countries and writing in all possible languages. Of course, this will require a lot of work for the jury members, because we will be obliged to find jury members reading in these languages, but we think that it is possible because we have so many great members at the MSA from so many different countries and speaking so many different languages that we are quite sure that we will be able to set up juries able to do that job. And we also thought about the actual award, which would be either that would be a small grant for translation, either for translating an article based on the book into English, or translating the whole book. We are quite aware that €2,000 will not be enough, but the applicants will be able to find some additional funding. And also Jenny, Jeff, and Aline, who are the editors of the Memory Studies series at Bergham, promised to support publications at Bergham. So these would be the main changes in the first book award, and we hope that this would contribute to the inclusivity of the MSA. And also with Joanna, we are currently preparing the special, and Zofia Wójcicka also, we are currently preparing the special issue of the next special issue of Memory Studies based on a call for papers, which was published after the last MSA conference in Warsaw. And we hope that it will be published by the end of the year. The topic of the special issue is mnemonic wars. And when we announced the call for papers at the end of 2021, we were not aware how timely the topic would be at the moment of the publication. I think that's all from me. Am I expected to say anything else? I think the book series is Jenny or Aline, probably. Sarah, do you want to add anything?
I think this is perfect, Magda. I think everyone is fully aware of the book series since it already existed. And maybe we will come back to some of these issues in how to get involved part of our conference, of our members meeting at the end to open the floor. So thanks again. And I guess it's now Jenny, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'll just say a few words about professional development within the MSA, since this is something we thought from the beginning was very important, as of course a lot of people struggle with, coming from other disciplines and maybe not having a dedicated place for their career development within memory studies. So you probably all know that there's always, with the in-person conferences and also with the virtual one we had in Warsaw, an MSA Forward PhD training school. This is not happening this year, but it will again, of course, in Newcastle. So stay tuned for that. And generally, our annual conference is also combined with a set of methodology workshops and what we call master classes, although that's kind of the wrong word. So I just wanted to basically give a shout out because I've mainly been the one organizing these in the past. So if you have a good idea for something you would like to offer or you would like to see happen at the next conference in 2023, or even if you would like to see something happen along the way as part of the MSA, which I think Jeff will talk about later, just give us an email so we can be aware of it. The MSA also has a mentorship program, although during COVID it kind of, excuse me, it kind of went dormant a little bit. So together with Catherine Gilbert, we've been working on relaunching it. So there will be a virtual event in September, I believe, on mentorship within the MSA. And that will also relaunch the program, but you can find information about mentorship within the MSA on our website. And somewhat related to this, you might be aware already of the Transformative Inclusivity Initiative within the MSA, which was formed sort of within the last 6 to 8 months, I would say, which is, of course, as the name says, devoted to making the MSA as inclusive and welcoming as possible. And I believe I'm involved in this, but I believe Jarula Wegner wanted to say a few things about this. He's part of the initiative. Are you here, Jarula?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I have been selected the one to represent the Transformative Inclusivity Initiative. That followed a letter by D1. And on the 21st March of 2022, we then held the first meeting and had a discussion. We are in total 9 members. Apart from Rura Mizai, Jerome Bira, we are Jenny Escobar, Marianne Hirsch, Naomi Oswald Kawamura, Jocelyn Martin, Mary McCarthy, Elizabeth Ross Miller, myself, and Jenny Wüstenberg as well. We talked about many details, including mainly focusing that the initiative seeks to pay attention to power dynamics, enabling inclusion and participation in the MSA. We came up with a small first structure of things we want to discuss in a meeting, including further supporting small conferences, development of curricula with teachers, students, and parents, clarifying criteria for international hiring, inclusion of neurodiversity, indigenous ways of knowing, including MA students in MSA Forward programs, and as was mentioned just now already, also further fostering workshops, roundtables, and master classes. The next step will be a retreat, which will aim towards not only further clarifying, specifying these elements, but also producing a document and other resources to be shared with the MSA leadership and the membership. That's going to be a hybrid event because in order, of course, to further increase inclusivity, some will be on site and others like myself will be online. And as it looks now, we are planning to meet in Bern, where Rura Mizai Cherumbia is currently posted, and the calculations, if I'm to say the numbers right now, were about 16,518 and plus contingent fund. So that's basically the project. I think the email was sent just today, so it's all a little bit very last minute, but we're happy to be able to present that to the committee and also to be included in that way. And the idea is to have that transformative inclusivity initiative, not just something like Rura Mizai often says, we don't want to be the police, but we rather want to try to really change the organization so that it can become also a model for other organizations in terms of representing that kind of transformative inclusivity. We believe there has been done a lot already, but there is also still some things to be done. I think that's all I need to say for now. Thank you.
Maybe just to add that if anyone wants to get involved, it's of course not too late. So just send us an email. Of course, the more the merrier.
Yes, I can only endorse that.
Okay, is this me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I've posted in the chat the address to the website where there's more information on DMSA, past events, but also upcoming events. So DMSA started as an effort to bridge the gap when everything went online, but we realized very quickly that this should be a robust and ongoing part of our activities. That being said, because the conference this year has become a series of online events, which look very much in some ways like the DMSA, that we have sort of stepped back. This, by the way, all has been run admirably and excellently by Jelena with help from Steph Kraps. So all I should say is that we're thinking very much about having regular events, but this depends to a very great extent on the proposals that are sent in. So we strongly encourage you to send in proposals. You can send them to the info address, or you can send them directly to Yelena. There is a submission form on the website, but regular emails are also okay, though they may elicit the response. Please fill in the submission form. But we're looking for things that are of wide interest and wide diversity of topics. So please make no assumptions about what format or what subject matter would be acceptable. We're always welcome new ideas as well as your involvement in this. That's all. Thanks.
Yeah, so this is the Contestants Histories project. That's a project that is run by MSA and Euroclio in collaboration. It's funded by the European Commission. I already talked about that at the last members meeting. We got an extension because we wanted to actually do a few more things. I know that some of you in the audience actually participated to the 4 events that we organized in this context. And we are working now on the toolkit and on 3 video tutorials that are all dealing with the question of like how to give guided tours, for example, at sites that are contested and where different narratives are clashing. So if you're interested in this topic, then keep on watching what is coming out also in terms of publications and then these tutorials, these video tutorials.
Okay, I think it's me on this bit. So I'm Catherine Gilbert. I'm leading the local organising committee at Newcastle University, and we are of course hosting the next edition of the Memory Studies Conference. It'll be the 7th annual conference, I believe, and it will run from the 3rd to the 7th of July 2023. The broad theme of the conference is going to be communities and change. And within that, we're hoping to have, we're planning sort of a number of thematic streams to make the programming easier so people can submit their panel proposals, roundtable proposals, creative workshop proposals under these different thematic streams. We're also hoping to have a cultural program running alongside the academic program. We really want to embed the conference in the city as much as possible. So the northeast of England has a sort of really strong history of local heritage activism. So we really want to tap into that and work with cultural partners across the city and, you know, sort of showcase what's already going on, but also finding different spaces for creative activities such as performances, exhibitions, and so on during the course of the 5 days. In terms of the timeline, we are hoping to have the call for papers ready to be released within the next week or so. We're getting this out quite early because we know a lot of you would have wanted to submit things to the conference in South Korea and you've got things ready to go. So please do send them to us as soon as the submissions portal opens. Obviously, the call for papers will go out very soon, but it'll take us a little while longer before we can actually open the submissions portal. But you'll have plenty of time to get everything ready. We're going to set the submissions deadline for early October. Again, this is slightly earlier than usual, but this is so that people can be notified by the end of December to give them ample time to apply for visas, to plan travel, apply for extra funding, and so on and so forth. And this is because we are aware that sadly the UK is quite a hostile environment at the moment. We've also had problems recently with visas being refused, so we're going to try and get people to apply for visas and things as early as possible. We're aware that it can also be very expensive and prohibitively so in some cases, particularly for scholars travelling from further away and from the global south. But that said, we don't have the capacity to have a fully hybrid conference, but we are exploring options with different sort of AV companies and things to see what we can actually do to make the conference as accessible as possible. So again, this will all be, we'll be having regular updates on the first of all on the MSA website and then on the conference website once we've got that up and running in the next few weeks. So yeah, I think that's it from me. And I'm happy to answer any questions, take suggestions at the end.
Before we move to the next slide, I wanted to say something about the 2024 conference, which obviously we're already starting to think about. And this will be outside of Europe again. We're thinking about Latin America at the moment. And I'm currently working with a couple of people who are interested in organizing this. However, we are still at the very early stages. So whoever is interested in getting involved, who maybe knows a great host we could potentially approach, then please get in contact. And then we really hope to be able to organize the 2024 conference somewhere in a South American country.
So before I give the floor to Wolf for a first word of introduction and of course to all of you for a discussion, we wanted to go back to all the ways because people have been putting questions and reaction in the chat. So it's nice to see that some people want to get involved, know more, etc. So we have a list of ways for you to get involved. But before going through this list, I just wanted to say that all of us are doing that for free with a lot of energy. And Aline, Jenny, and Jeff have been doing that for years. So we all need any contribution, energy, participation we can get. So please never hesitate to contact us for any ideas, suggestions. Of course, this will happen only if you also get involved. We cannot do everything by ourselves because we have extra life outside of the MSA, like I think a lot of you have, hopefully. So this will be a more general statement I wanted to make. So as some people ask how to create a working group, a regional branch or a national branch, of course, this is completely open and you can contact us to do so at any time. Obviously, it will need for you to already have a group energy. You can not create a working group only by yourself for yourself. This is obvious, of course, but please do not hesitate to participate in or found such a working group. You can, and it will be much appreciated, I must say, especially if we ask Michael and Astrid and Bill how it is not that always easy to find people to run for election. So you can run for election, the executive committee, ethics, finance, but also president of the MSA. You can be active in any committees, share any ideas. So this issue of languages that Magda referred to with our project of New Book Award has been discussed a lot in the MSA. Also, that's why we decided to add this language skill in the directory. And this is something I'm very much interested in, but it can be any other issue and it will not happen if you don't participate in raising this issue. So please do not hesitate again to share ideas and solutions also regarding this. You can become a mentor or be mentored. So Jenny just said how it's been a little bit on the side for the COVID time, but we are really wanting to put that working again. Of course, you can speak of the MSA, about the MSA everywhere you can. I still now receive some emails from people saying, oh, we just discovered that memory studies existed. It seems really that it is something I've been working on for years without knowing it. So please make people know that we exist because, of course, and this is current and future challenges about memory studies. This will only be what people make out of it. So if we stay only a small group of people always thinking the same way about memory studies, we are not going to be able to renew ourselves constantly, which is something important for research and cumulativity. And Catherine just presented you the great project for the Newcastle conference. So please do not hesitate to submit everything for this conference. Some people put comments about the hybrid situation in the chat. I wanted to go back to what Catherine said, to say that hybrid is very, very expensive. And even if the association has a balanced budget for now, it will go far beyond our budget to have a fully hybrid conference. It is not because we don't want to do that. Obviously, we would like everyone to attend from everywhere at any time, but we cannot for now. We are going to do as many panels as we can in hybrid rooms, and Catherine and her team are really looking more into that, but the whole conference will not be able to be hybrid. That's a fact. It's a financial one, and it's not a political choice. And of course, Jeff just invited you to do so. Please contribute to the DMSA brainstorming. I personally think that we have to, as a memory studies group, we have to tackle some issue we've been leaving on the side, like artificial intelligence and memory studies, or DNA and memory studies, a lot of things. So for example, I will like to promote such DMSA event, but you have some, I'm sure, some issues which you are not really sure about, want to know more, discuss, have some harsh discussions about it. So please do not hesitate to come forward and organize or co-organize or suggest any DMSM topic. So this will be for the ways to get involved. Obviously, and it will give me the opportunity to hand over to Wolf. There's also other ways to get involved. And we've seen this year how difficult the geopolitical and international situation is. And a lot of the issues we are all confronted with are related to memory issues. So it's also something that us as a scholar community, we will have to work on more in the future, how to interact with also social issues and political discussions, which has been also a topic of discussion among us for some years. So this is also something that we need to be a strong and large community to be able to meet these challenges. Wolf, do you want to say something before we open the floor?
Sure, love to. First of all, I think it's a moment for a big word of thanks to the outgoing team of presidents. I think anybody who has been part of the MSA from the beginning can also assess how much work has been done, how much the team of presidents and assistants and the executive committee and the interns, how much they have accomplished in the last years in very difficult times. I think the MSA, thanks to this team effort, is in very good shape financially, but also as a very active organization. Obviously, this will depend on the future participation of the membership. And it will also, of course, depend on our very best efforts, Sarah and myself, but we will certainly try our very best to have the MSA grow and develop on this impressive foundation. I think with these big words of things and really big words of appreciation, I think we should turn to the membership and listen to our members now.
I may add that we will celebrate properly in person in Newcastle this transition between us, Wolf, and the past presidents, with drinks and everything we miss when we are on Zoom, right?
Yes, that's a very, very good idea. And another reason to be there.
So some people put a question in the chat, remarks, but I don't know who, do you want me to, everyone can read them anyway. Like Anne suggested that maybe the MSA should think of covering charges for visa application. I'm not going to answer because it's Catherine who is the head of the organizing committee, but I would say why not if we can.
Yeah, I think it just depends on, what the budget will be once, we'll know a bit better once we've sort of set the registration fees, know how many people we're expecting, how much income we can generate, how much sponsorship we can get. And then, of course, we'll try and support as many people as we can, I think.
I think Joanne wants to talk.
Yeah, can I just add briefly to that? Because one thing is not charging covering the visa cost, but the other would be to consider not, charging the conference fee from the people who need the British visa only after they get the visa, because now we are having a situation with many conferences that the scholars outside of outside of Schengen and outside of the British of UK, they pay the fees, but at the end of that process they are not entered to the country because the procedure takes ages. It really takes ages. I mean, now it takes like 10 or 12 months to get a British visa for some of the scholars. So, it's, kind of, I know it's difficult because, I've organized the Warsaw Conference, so I know how difficult is planning the budget of the conference, but this is really, I think, important, because otherwise they will just be punished for that they pay the, the fee and that they cannot enter the conference. Thank you.
Yeah, again, that's something on the submissions portal we could, perhaps have an option and then take it case by case to the ethics committee to see how we can proceed and help individuals to participate, and without paying fees up front. Yeah, and I know in the past we've also sort of looked at fee waivers for various colleagues attending and things like that. So obviously we'll consider all of those options.
Makes me think that if anyone has also ideas for funding and sponsors, we can ask for the Newcastle conference, or for example, regarding this visa issue, things like foundation will care for extra European people to attend such conference. Please, again, do not hesitate to share these great ideas with us, and we will be happy to try to pursue them.
Absolutely. Good. Very, very welcome. It all depends in the end on the budget of how much money will be available. I think we've always tried to subsidize people coming to the MSA conferences. The more money we can give out. Are there other questions or comments? I think there's one in the chat.
Joanna, you want to address this question?
Yeah, yes, of course, it's a very legitimate comment. I would just start with that, that we have, above all, the very, modest means. So we, it's not that we can, we can absolutely help, everyone. And the way we started, we actually encourage the scholars who are aware of the scholars at risk to submit the applications on their behalf, because that was feasible, with that very, meager manpower and also the meager funds which we have. And we really wanted to strengthen the collaboration within the MSA. So the scholars who are in the secure position, who are able to collaborate with the scholars who are not in such a position. So not only they get the money for the common project, but they really collaborate with each other. So that adds, to the scholar position. And of course, we are not able to help everyone. We will be able to help 4 people that year, unless we are more successful in fundraising, and that of course also depends on willingness of everyone from the MSA to donate. So yes, and there are many other programs, right, to help scholars at risk. So what we can do is just to do our bits in that situation, but we really need to, and that's, I think I'm quite convinced on that, we can't do everything by ourselves. So we can only, help and donate the money to those who can collaborate more meaningfully with the individual scholars at risk, and that would be more or less their kind of a job to identify those scholars. So that's, this is the network way we can provide it. So this is how I see the situation, but of course now it would be for Johanna and the committee to see what are the other possibilities to work with that.
Thank you very much, Joanna, for the update. I have now Thea first and Astrid afterwards. So Thea, the floor is yours.
Thank you. First of all, I do think it's a wonderful team leading the MSA. So thank you very much for doing that and doing that so well. And then just because I may not have been properly aware throughout. I'm so bad at Zoom meetings, but I was just wondering when the next elections are and for what. If we wanted to encourage everybody to run for things, that would be nice to know.
It's a very good question. Who would like to take that up? Sarah, or maybe one of the team of 3 presidents?
I think I know.
Good, Jenny.
It's generally in February,
Yes.
more or less. Is that right? Everybody else? So we should be electing 2 executive committee members. And I believe also members for the ethics committee. And then, of course, I'm not quite sure about that, but I think so. And then, of course, a new president-elect.
Absolutely. Tia, does that answer your question?
Like that, you will have plenty of time to get ready for running for the next president, right?
I can hear from Tia, she's volunteering.
Oh, okay, perfect.
And maybe to clarify, the elections in February, or is it, is run February, March, but then the people take office in July. So you have even more time, a whole year.
Perfect. Thank you, Jenny. Astrid, the floor is yours.
Hello, I have been taking a stint recently in coordinating the regular co-chair meetings of the working groups. So I wanted to encourage people who are here from working groups to join these meetings. And B, I wanted to say that it is very much appreciated that the working groups have now been given more of a space and more of a voice at the MSA, particularly through Jelena, who I cannot see on this call, Jelena Durinovic, who is very active within the working groups and is on the executive.
She couldn't attend. Of course, if
yeah.
she could have, she would have
spoken.
So right.
So I want to just acknowledge that and say that it's really great that our groups have now been given that space to organize the online events. Also that we've been in conversation with the local organizers of the conferences. We had started a conversation with the Korean group, but obviously it's not happening now. But Catherine and her team have been coming to the co-chair meetings, and we've started thinking about working together. And I think we really appreciate that we are given more space there. And of course, also the website and the space for the group. So I'd like to encourage people who want to, that's another way, no, this was on the list of getting involved, but to also come to the co-chair meetings of the groups, which happen regularly. And of course, now I cannot remember when the next one is. Sometime in July, I think the week after the online conference. Yeah. Sorry, I can't find it.
We find it in the chat. It's on July 22nd.
There you are. Thank you, Jarula. That's it. Perfect. Okay, that's it from me.
But thank you very much for pointing out. I also want to take this opportunity to highlight how much work went into organizing also the website and providing the working groups, the regional groups, the national groups with a platform and making it much easier to coordinate efforts and this kind of grassroots activity, which I think is extremely important for all the activities of the MSA. And for example, also for our future digital presence. Other questions and comments? There's in the chat. This is still returning to the Scholars at Risk mentorship program.
While some people are looking for questions, I wanted to add that, as Magda explained, for this new book award format we are going to experience. So it's been already a lot of work to come with that. It will be, of course, publicized on our website and on all the actual and usual ways. But I also, because we didn't put that in ways to get involved, I wanted also to stress the fact that it will only work if some people speaking several languages are actively taking part in our crazy jury try, right? So if one of you is asked to take part to this book award as a member of the jury or as an external reviewer, please consider agree, like you can agree to that, because it's something that will be really important for this to work and to be really inclusive. And so I wanted to stress that.
Absolutely. In the end, we can only work in the languages that our membership allows us to work in. We need those resources. So for those of you who are also speaking and reading languages that are not so frequent among our membership, we might want to tap on you. I want to highlight again Astrid's invitation for all of those who are interested, or co-chairs, to join the co-chair meeting in July. Her email address is in the chat, so please send a mail to her if you are interested in joining the meetings of regional, thematic, and national working groups. And of course, we are still hoping for more comments and questions.
Also, something we discussed with Lorena, Angus, and Aline just before we open the members meeting, do not hesitate to share with the MSA all your publication, all the information you want us to put on the website, to share on the social media. Really try to use the MSA as a way to circulate the information. We are not selecting the information. We are really open to all our members to do this information work. So do not hesitate to use that.
Thank you, Sarah. There's a question comment from Samuel. The floor is yours, Samuel.
I'm Samuel. Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm Samuel from eastern of DRC, DR Congo.
Welcome.
Thank you. Now my question is this: who would like to host you here in DRC? To have a conference, perhaps you can have a conference here in eastern of Congo, if maybe possible.
That's, of course, an extremely exciting suggestion. I think, as with many conferences, we would be reliant on local collaborators to stage events.
Thank you.
But in principle, of course, it's very exciting. Sarah, your response?
Yeah, if we can wait to do it, like if you on site can find also enough energy, collective dynamics to do that, we will be happy to work with you to make it happen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person with a question comment is Gallus, if I pronounce this correctly. Gallus, the floor is yours.
Thank you. It's just to give a comment for Samuel. Samuel, there is a process that all this is conducted. If you go to MSA website, you will find the Africa Regional Group. You can write to Annette and copy me. We will walk you through the process because you will have to be a member of MSA. When you talk like that, I assume that you are not yet a member and you basically need to be aligned to MSA Africa. Then we will see definitely what will happen, because I guess MSA is a fair playground that one day the international conference will look towards Africa, basically Africa south of the Sahara. So
okay, thank you. Not yet a member. Yeah.
Then this is a great opportunity to join.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll go to join.
Thank you very much, Gallus, for that very helpful information.
And we may remind that the MSA Africa already organized several events, very important ones. One of the most active regional branch. So of course, it's obvious that we would love to go to Africa for one of our annual meeting, and it's something we have in mind. That's absolutely clear.
Thank you.
I will not be president by then, but but I'm sure that the ones who will come after me, and because so as Aline just reminded, we have one in Europe, and we want to do one outside Europe every 2 years, and so Africa will hopefully, I hope, be one of those every 2-year conference, and we will rely on you and MSA Africa to do it.
Yeah, we are ready. I guess, I mean, Africa is home of memory. I mean, memory begins and ends in Africa. It's my claim, by the way. If there is a comment that I just want to make is, I think I would also suggest that MSA try to position African scholars in terms of when we do a conference, please help us to get at least a publication of whatever nature out of it, so that we have documented research in what we do henceforth, so it will be easier for other academics to be able to reach out into these materials that we can keep in our different libraries in South Africa and in Africa. Because the experience of the in-person conference we did and the online conference we did, there were abstracts that were submitted, people did presentation, and then, as a young part of this model organization, we've not been able to have something documented. And it's basically our cry to MSA that, when you go to bed, always think of Africa in terms of leaving a legacy. Myself, I've been in the leadership with late Professor Sabine. I'm also passing, as is the culture of passing it on. And I don't want to pass like that without having something that I can say that this is the work we've been doing. Because, like I said, there are a lot of issues pertaining to memory in Africa that all of us, as you guys who are already organic scholars in this thing, it's one of the best places that we can really reignite that vigor of, that deep quest into memory scholarship. So yeah, we're ready. Are you ready?
That's exactly the kind of energy we need. I really like your suggestion of that there's a particular need to document the activities in your setting. That makes perfect sense, and that's a suggestion we should consider and support.
And
Jenny?
maybe just to add that we do have this built in, right? Because pretty much the conference organizers are always the ones editing our special issue of memory studies every year. And because obviously, I would love to come back, because I attended the great conference in 2019 that Atta and Sabina organized. And that was from the Africa group, but I think obviously that was a great model for us for the general conference. And because it was only the regional group, you didn't get to edit that special issue, but that is built into our process. But obviously you're right that we need to think about more ways to publicize and to elevate your work as well, while we're, when you put all your energy into planning a conference like this.
Maybe I should add in this context that while the MSA has a special issue of memory studies once a year, there's always also the option of submitting a proposal for a special issue to memory studies on top of that. So that's always an option, and certainly would be considered by the editorial board of the journal. In the chat, there's a reminder of the Latin American regional group meeting taking place in Bogota in September as a hybrid meeting. And the program will be available in 2 to 3 weeks with a link added to that. Thank you very much for that information. What other suggestions or comments from the members or the leaders? Have we indeed covered all the ground? All questions are answered? It was a good presentation. I have to say that and emphasize that, with lots of suggestions and answers. But were indeed every possible concerns and questions already covered in that? Sarah, what do you think?
I think we appear to be done here, I guess. Yep. I may just want to say a few words in reaction to your remark, Carlos, about publication. Actually, we've been discussing that a lot within the executive committee, not only in relation to the conference you referred to, but how to have more widespread and egalitarian ways of publication. And we don't have concrete things to give you today. But just I wanted to tell you that we are really trying to find new ideas and new ways to do that. And not only in the case you just raised, which is very important, but actually it echoes some of other situations. And so as soon as we have a first way to address that, we will come back to you all, hopefully with good ideas and news. And maybe we are going to conclude for today. I want to remind you that so please check the website, your social media and so on about the week of events next week and the week of events of the working group the week after. And do not hesitate to get involved in all the ways we try to present today. Do anyone want to add something? And I may add also that, of course, Aline, Jeff, and Jenny, you're not going anywhere. You're staying close to us. And we are looking for great opportunities to really celebrate that in the future.
Indeed.
So are we ending this meeting? Yeah?
Sounds like it. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Great to see you all.
Bye.